My name is Charlene Rocha. I'm that brown girl sitting in the back of your math class. I'm quiet, I keep to myself, and I prefer to be alone. I'm focused on school, book smart, so I don't have any passions or anything interesting to say about the world. At least, that's how others first see me. When I asked my friends what their first impressions of me were, this is what I got. Nerd, quiet, show-off, boring. See, I've always known that others had these first impressions of me, whether or not they were accurate. And although these words aren't necessarily bad or as bad as they could have been, I thought it was weird that they were sort of unforgettable. Every single person that I had talked to seemed to have this weird first impression of me, this first impression that I thought was so inaccurate. Thankfully, these don't last, and it's a good thing that they don't. Studies show that we form these opinions in 1/10 of a second. It's too small an amount of time to actually get to know anyone. Still, we think that first impressions matter so much. When I first met my friends, I didn't see them as potential friends. They were just normal people. The first impressions that I had of them told me nothing about their personalities or about who they really were. It wasn't until we actually started talking and we got to know each other that I started to see the real them, their true personalities. And this made me realize something. If we just put assumptions aside, we can get to know so many people. We can be friends with people we never imagined ourselves being friends with. Well, why is this so hard? We are always told that first impressions matter, first impressions count. We only have one chance to make a good first impression. But if the first impressions that we have of people, like our friends, don't immediately tell us what their true personality is like and what they really are, then why do we listen to this? We are always told these things, but if our first impressions of people can be inaccurate, why do we listen? The truth is, first impressions impact the way that we act. They're a tactic that we use to make ourselves more likable. In the same way that we filter a picture, we filter our personalities, so we don't show others our bad qualities immediately. Whether we're going to school, starting a job, or making a new friend, we become actors. We put on this fake image of ourselves. We pretend to be smarter by using bigger words. We pretend to be more fun. And we pretend to match the personalities that others have. 63% of the time, we change our personalities to match the crowd. Think about that. We all seem to act one way around our families, one way around one friend group, one way around another friend group, and our personalities can even change from person to person. But why do we do that? We try so hard to make a good first impression and then maintain that good first impression. We try so hard to fit in, to be liked, and to conform to the ideas others have of who we should be. If a certain group of people likes a show, we might also pretend to like that show. If a certain group of people hates this genre of music, we also might pretend to hate that genre of music. I've always loved Will from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because no matter who he's with or where he has that same unique sense of style. He always wears the clothes that he wants, he always talks the way that he wants, and he always acts the way that he wants, whether or not he's in a rich or poor neighborhood. So many times people have told him, you can't do this, you should act like this, you should be more like this. But he was himself 100% of the time. But it's hard for us to do that. When we're constantly told that we have one chance to make a good first impression, we feel as if we always have to appear our best. Society puts so much stress into being perfect that we give in that 63% of the time. What if I'm not wearing something that looks good? What if they don't like my opinions? What if I could have been nicer or done better? What if? These questions lead us into changing the way we present ourselves. We wear clothes we don't like, we change the way our hair looks, and we speak differently. Many women are pressured to wear makeup to work or school in order to feel presentable. Those who are bilingual try hiding their accents to avoid sounding different. Sometimes I don't speak my opinions or show that I can be a leader because I don't want to be called bossy. Humans are so drawn towards being liked, and it's a natural thing to want to fit in. But if we have to sacrifice who we are and what we want just to please someone else and get somebody else's approval, it's not worth it. We are always told that we have to change parts of ourselves just to prevent stereotypes that others have. And when people say that a first impression reflects your true personality, they're just trying to get us to conform to the ideas of what they want us to be. 55% of a first impression is taken by the person's body language and their appearance. And that's not all that surprising. If you meet someone that's wearing tattoos or has lots of tattoos, you might assume that they're dangerous or intimidating. That stereotype clouds the way that you think, even if you don't fully believe it. And this may seem like a harmless stereotype, but it can actually impact the person in many ways. 77% of employers say that they would be less likely to hire you if you have tattoos. This means that somebody who is fully qualified for a job, somebody who has worked their way to deserve a position, could be sent away just because they have art on their body. If you see a boy and a girl that are friends, you might immediately assume that they're dating. But that's not always the case. That assumption that you make can lead into others being jealous, not trusting you, and it enforces the stereotype that boys and girls can't be just friends. In these cases, the assumptions that we make can lead into others thinking differently of us. When we make assumptions of others, we can treat others differently based on something that's most likely not true. People don't really know you after they just look at you, after an introduction, or even after you have a conversation with them. It takes time and multiple conversations before you can actually get to know someone. When I was in school, my friend group was labeled the nerds. And at that time, I felt like that stereotype kind of put me into a box. All of my personality traits that stepped outside of that, I didn't show anybody, because I didn't think anybody would want to know that. I thought that that label dictated who I should and shouldn't talk to. I slowly stopped doing that when I realized that my personality when I was in school and my personality when I was with people that I actually cared about were complete opposites. So yeah, people will judge me when they see me, but I've learned to not identify myself with those stereotypes. And just like the first High School Musical movie teaches us, we are not the labels that others give us. We can be so much more than that. I would say that I'm so much more than quiet and boring because I know myself the best. When I asked my friends what they thought of me now, this is what I got. These are the words that I would use to describe myself. I don't believe in first impressions, and I advise you to do the same. Our ideas, our desires, and our personalities are important, and we should not be afraid to share them, no matter who we are with or where we are. People will judge you before they get to know you. People will have first impressions of you, whether they be good first impressions or bad first impressions. But regardless of what they think of you, you should never be afraid to be whoever you want. By not fearing rejection, you can surround yourself with people who like you for you, and not a fake version of yourself. My name is Charlene Rocha. I'm an extremely loud and passionate person. I'm an activist for climate change, and I love learning about politics and the government. I can get a little too intense when I'm playing board games, and I absolutely suck at cooking. I can watch stupid dog videos for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I pour the milk before the cereal. Sorry, Lauren. But no matter what people think of me, this is who I am, and that's what I'm going to show the world. Now, what about you? Thank you.